Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we're all working really hard. We're trying to get this fragment fusion done. Iron Brago, is he worth it? All that type of stuff. I've already told you, feels like he's got pretty strong numbers actually. The numbers look pretty good. A1s and A2s look similar to Ultans. A3 looks similar to a Martyr in terms of damage potential. All of us are working hard, and Taco, the guy with a shard or two, has gone and pulled him. He's pulled him early. So Taco, big member of the community in my Discord, on streams and stuff, he's like, why don't you just jump on in and give him a go? So let's just do a quick rundown. Iron Brago, cool looking legendary, I think. He's a bit unsure what faction he should be in, and they've thrown him in Orcs. He has got an A1. We haven't booked everything, by the way, because he takes tons of books. A1, 20% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs. It's kind of like an okay A1 in terms of the utility of it, but it does smack pretty hard, and we're going to try and show that today. Now, in terms of books, an extra 10% book damage would spike him up. You know, that's a big amount of extra damage you're going to get if you did put books into that. But generally, I would say utility-wise, pretty poor, but damage-wise, it's good. A2, increased defense buff on all allies. I love it for 3 turns. That's huge. This is one that you would love to get booked out in full, if I'm honest. 3-turn cooldown on an increased defense buff for 3 turns, so you've got it up 100% of the time. For clan boss fight, that's massive. And for general content, it's good as well. But even at a 4-turn cooldown, it's still pretty damn strong. 75% chance as well, books up to 100 of placing a stun. 75% chance again, books to 100 of placing a stun for 2 turns. Instead, if the target's under 2 or more buffs. That's kind of nice. You think about someone like a Sifi, who is a nightmare in the arena. She can cleanse freezes off of her allies. She can't cleanse stuns off of her allies. So stun is actually a really good mechanic to try and deal with Sifi. So it's an okay A2. Again, I think it hits really hard. Double 20% damage multiplier on books is really big. So we shall see this one in action. The A3 attacks all enemies. 50% chance of placing provoked for 1 turn. Books up to 75. That's okay. It's not great. It's okay. 75% chance is good. But you're not going to be drawing the whole wave into you. So you've still got to try and protect your squishies in another way. But also placing decrease attack for 2 turns if he's under an increased defense buff is nice. So, you know, a decreased attack, that's not a 75% chance to place it. It will place it if he's under increased defense. So that will help your squishies if they are taking hits. So all in all, good utility here. Good utility across the board. A stun, some provokes, a decreased attack, and a good chunk of damage. On his passive then, this is the interesting part, which is different from any other champion, I think. I don't think anyone does this. Increases the defense of all allies by 10% of this champion's defense. By the way, whenever I say I think no one else does this, I always get like 10 messages down below. There's this one, this one, this one. Pretty sure in this case I'm right, but we'll see. So if you can build him up to like 5k defense, which is a massive number, even 4k defense, it's a strong number, then as you enter the dungeon or the clan boss, all of your champions will have 10% of that defense number. Okay, so let's say you're struggling on clan boss and I think he's a progression champion, if I'm honest. I think he's not super end game. I think he's a progression legendary. So if you're at Nightmare Clan Boss and you're struggling to stay alive for that extra time, Iron Brago comes in, does a lot of damage for you, has a decreased attack, debuff on a 3-turn cooldown if you book him. I would advise, if you can book this guy out, he can be your decreased attack champion, by the way. So decreased attack champion if you book him. And he's going to bring all of your champions another chunk of defense. 300, 400, 500, depends how well you build him. That, for you, might be insanely strong. For an endgame player like me, I probably won't see much value from it. So it really depends where you are in the game. Similar to Taco, Taco probably won't see a lot of value from it. But a lot of progression players will see that as a huge bonus when they're trying to beat content. You know, a straight up chunk of defense is just mitigating damage. If you can imagine, this is a really good example. Imagine your Cold Heart comes in Have we got one on this account? I'm sure we have somewhere. Cold Heart comes in, and Cold Heart is notorious for being difficult to keep alive if she starts taking a hit. Yeah, she's got a base defense of 738. Even with gear on, she's only at 1500 defense. Iron Brago flat gives her a chunk more defense. It's like you're putting her in defense chest and defense gloves. That's how strong his defense, maybe just one, maybe one of those, but that's how strong that aura is for someone like a Cold Heart. So, depending on who you're pairing him with and the situation, he could be kind of bonkers for progression, for you to get through content that you're struggling with. So I do like it. I like his kit. He's got an aura for Doom Tower as well, which is kind of like, well, fine. In terms of masteries then, Taco's done him with Helm Smasher. So I guess he wants to just, he's testing out damage. So we'll go along with that. We'll test him out for damage to start with. We're doing a bunch of different areas, and we'll finish, I think, on Clan Boss, where we might need to change these masteries. In terms of build at the moment, so Taco's gone for a high defense, 4.5k, 100% crit rate, 238 crit damage with accuracy to land is stuff. What's he done for here? Crit damage on the gloves, defense on the chest, defense on the boots. So he's super slow right now. So I think we'll do a just like can he hit type of challenge first, and then we will get him in speed boots, and perhaps we'll rerun his gear a little bit. Okay, guys, so we're just going to do a quick damage test then on Fire Knight with the gear that I've just shown you. He's not in Savage gear. Savage gear would boost his damage more than he's in right now, but it'll give you a good sense. So, because he's a defensive champion, you actually need an increased defense buff to boost his damage, not an increased attack buff. Increased attack will do 0 for him. Literally nothing at all to help him do damage. So, we know a kind of good level of damage for a legendary defense champion. And if I'm talking about an Ultan, hitting with his Ultan's A2, we're talking like 150k would be a big slam. So we're going to try an A2 hit first. 150k, almost exactly the same as Ultan. Okay, cool. So that is a big hit in A2. It's a big hitter. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that. Especially, I really feel like he's probably going to be best in Clan Boss, to be honest, for most people's accounts. Let's see if we can just rotate back round to his I think we'll try A3 next. So A3 is an AoE hit. If we've got increased defense up, they're taking a decreased attack, which is nice. Normally, you would do, I guess, I'll try him on auto in a second, see whether he does his A2 by default first. We'll see. So let's just see what this does. 40 up to 80. I don't know if the 40 I didn't have a weaken on. I didn't see, actually. But we're hitting for like 80 to 100 on the guys here with a full amount of debuffs. Pretty strong damage for an AoE hit. Considering he's not in Savage gear as well, that is a big hit. That is good. Can we get round to his A1 as well? Let's just shield someone. Hopefully we do. Pop that back on. Here we go. A1 as well then. What's he going to do? 82. It's good. It's good damage. So can he hit? The answer is yes. That's a good start. I guess let's just replay, run him on auto, and just see what skills he decides to do first. Be interesting to see. Does he do his A2 first? He might not, because he's already did his A3 first. Might because we've already got an decreased defense buff on him. Sorry, Taco, I'm burning all your energy right now. Enjoy, my friend. Let's just take him out. So now no one else is going to place increased defense on for us. Let's see what he does now. So he does his A2 when there's no increased defense buff on. So kind of smart AI. I like it. So his standard will be place the increased defense first. Once it's on there, AoE smack. Good. Good job, Plarium. Yes. Yes. Well done. Well done, Plarium. That's a nice little touch. So, yeah, good stuff. He can smack. That's a good start. Let's get him in some proper boots and actually try him out in proper content. Okay, so I've actually kept him in pretty good setup here. 4.5k defense. 94 crit rate. I've done a Hell Hades, slimmed down the crit rate so that everyone gets annoyed at me. 210 crit damage still. We've got the accuracy still, but we've got a bit of speed in the build as well. So I think this is probably a better general build, actually, than what we had before. We've lost a bit of crit damage, but we've gained a bunch of speed. So let's think about Ice Golem then. Ice Golem, I feel like he just fits the bill really nicely. Let's just take her out. He's the right affinity as well. Serena, let's do this. So he's going to be bringing an extra layer of defense to someone like a Seer, whoever's doing your damage, right from the off. Also bringing you a defensive buff. So for Seer, that's more stuff to rip off. The defense ability passive that he brings in will still be there even if he's dead. So that extra 440 defense he's bringing everybody right now will still be there if he dies, and it won't change for the whole duration of the fight. He's just blown himself up, which is maybe a bit of a problem. Okay, I'm going to make this an even more grotesque team. But I do feel like, okay, I'm throwing out big teams here because I don't have, because I've not did all of Taco's champions. But if I was running this on my account, I do feel like there is going to be tons of options for him to help people progress. You know, throwing increased defense buffs out there. AoE provokes like he's just done there to stop the shriek. It just feels like against most content, there's going to be space for him to help people get through different levels of content. So this for me is a really good champion for a Fragment Fusion. Now, I don't think he's going to be the most ridiculous endgame player out there, endgame champion out there. But I think anybody who's kind of like working their way through the mid game, you know, AoE provoke, a bit of utility of stuns, big hitting abilities, boosting the defense of your champions, all of that sort of stuff, I think is just, you know, brilliant. It's a brilliant, brilliant champion to progress with. You just want to make sure that you build his base defense number up to a good level. So you do want to make sure that you're trying to push a good, at least 3.5k defense if you can. And you want to make sure that you get his accuracy and speed up so that he can do his abilities. But good damage there, 91k again. Sort of showing what he's all about. And this is going to end up being a decent run. His is stun ability on his A2. And, you know, people like Seer right now, Draco right now, they don't have a high base defense. They don't have a lot of defense into their build. And he's just adding another layer of protection against something like Ice Golem, which is actually quite a hard boss. 1.1 million damage. More damage than the Draco in the run. It's good. It's a good level of damage. Dragon 20 is going to be the weak affinity for. It's not always a bad thing to have a weak affinity champion. So let's see if I can drag a bunch of lower level champs together. As a weak affinity, you become the target. Yeah, so you become the target, and perhaps some of the champions that you might, some of the champions that you might not want to be the target, like, I don't know, your Cold Hearts or people like that, or Bellowers or whatever, it gives them a chance to avoid the damage. So I've pulled together a team here. The idea here is he comes in as the negative affinity for Dragon and can at least take some of the damage away from your damage dealers. So someone like a Cold Heart here who would naturally be a target, or Royal Guard would naturally be a target because they generally have got low health. He comes in as the weak affinity, and then the idea is he will start to take some hits. Now, if he ends up not taking a decreased defense, that's a different story. Got one provoke off there, 75% chance to get a provoke, and we got one. Or is it 50? Now, maybe he's not booked out. I think he's only at 50 right now. But still, the provokes just help to make sure damage comes into a certain direction. Now, in fairness, what I don't like is 75% is not 100. And, you know, you've got someone like a Nullhorn who is a rare champion that will give you that 100%. Obviously doesn't bring all the other stuff that Iron Brago's bringing, but one bugbear of mine is legendary champions with a provoke ability without 100%. It's really annoying. But I do think for progression through any dungeon, his kit is just going to be a support mechanism for you. Certainly, I think Ice Golem is maybe his best spot. Fire Knight could be pretty good as well. I'm guessing the Seeker has got absolutely no health, and that's why he's being targeted. It must be a clan boss. It must be a clan boss Seeker. Just an extra bit of, yeah, there we go. That's what should be happening. The extra bit of defense that he's giving everyone else gives them a chance just to stay alive. So you can see, even just throwing in a team where people are not geared that well, we're still progressing through the dungeon, mainly because he's enabling people to stay alive. And when he does start taking hits himself, he's barely getting scratched. So if we are thinking about Faction Wars, Faction's not open right now, so I can't show you an actual run. But he's the only defense-based champion in the Orcs. He's the only Spirit Affinity champion in the Orcs as well. So those two things make him pretty unique for a legendary. That's a nice thing to be. You want that for your team, a good range of types of champions. He brings an AoE decrease attack, which is generally going to be strong against boss fights. Good. He brings a bit of utility, things like stuns, which for the ads against bosses are good. And a tiny bit around stealing buffs. The main thing he's going to bring you in this setup, because if you think about the main good champions for Orcs in like an epic point of view, Sandlash, defensive champion. You've got Ultimate Gaelic, a bit difficult to keep alive. Zardala, a bit tricky to keep alive. Seer, pretty tricky to keep alive. So if you don't have someone like a Warlord and some of these healer type champs, and you're relying on Vrask maybe to be your healer, he can actually come in and just dump a load of defense on you and a bit of AoE control. So, there's not that much in terms of control in the epic lineup, and certainly not a lot in terms of the rares. So yeah, I feel like he would definitely get into most people's Faction War teams. That's going to be pretty solid. And I guess in a similar way for Doom Tower, where we are here, we're on hard. Let's just do not necessarily the bosses, although he does get a chance to provoke the Magma Dragon. It's not reliable enough to be, maybe you'd come into that team as like a secondary provoke if you needed it, but it's not reliable enough to do that. There's not really any of the boss fights that I think he particularly specializes in. The best would be Magma Dragon, but he's negative affinity for that as well, so it's probably just unlikely you would use him there. The main thing you would do for him in Doom Tower is waves. So let's just see what he could do. We bring the defense aura in. That's nice. So let's take out the Chimars maybe and just run it with a not semi-normal, got Lydia in there, but just like a team that perhaps works in a slightly different way here. And I think for Doom Tower progression to get you through waves, okay, we clear the first set with Seer. We've now got a big weight, and this is often where people struggle because they've done their first clear nice and easy. He can then come in, get our defense up for wave 2, take a bit of the damage, and actually he's got a reasonably strong defense number, so he's taken the hits from the whole wave. In hard Doom Tower, that's good going. Like taking all of those hits is hard to do. He's still going just about. Now he's going to get his AoE out. Got a few provokes off there, and we've got ourselves through to the third wave. And again, we're kind of just like working our way through. So he's kind of protecting everybody else to give them a chance to get their damage off. He's probably going to fall now, is he? Amount of damage he's taken in these setups is crazy, actually. Like, he is doing so much work to just allow the rest of your team a chance to do what they need to do. Removes a couple of buffs there. Do we quite have enough? We need an extra turn Seer. So many buffs to rip off if we get a go. There it is. We've just about done it. So, is his utility insane? No. But again, he's just given us enough time to get the job done. And I think for a progression champion, that's what you're looking for. So we're going to end. I guess maybe I'll show you the arena quick. Is he going to be an arena champion? I don't think he is. He does have an AoE. He's a bit like a weak version of Martyr for the arena, really. He can kind of come into a team and do a bit of work, but I just can't see that he's going to be in anybody's arena team. Unless you're talking about a stall arena defense team where you're just trying to pump defensive numbers into people. But if he was to come into this team, for example, and all you're really doing is trying to bolster a Nuka's defense number, you're just not going to make the difference. It won't do enough. So I just can't see him in an arena setup. Comment below though, guys, if you disagree with that, or if you've got an idea of what you would do in the arena, let us know below. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kit him out to be in a clan boss team, and then we'll see how he runs there. So I've changed him up for the... I've not changed him up a lot, but for clan boss, I'm thinking the masteries would be totally different. So we've kept him in the same gear for now. The defense level's already really strong. The speed's actually not bad for Nightmare clan boss or Ultra Nightmare clan boss. Anyway, I have changed his mastery so that he's now got War Master. I feel like this same mastery setup is probably his best set. As long as you've got enough accuracy to do his jobs in other content, giving him enough accuracy to do his decrease attack, great. But then defensive masteries just feel like they would be better for me than support masteries, I think. So we're just going to throw him into a clan boss run now. Taco does use a unkillable team, so that's not going to work here. So we're going to get rid of those phonies. Going to throw him into a clan boss setup that is... want a healer in there, so Bad El's going to come in. And then we're going to want to go for... Now, he could do a decreased attack if he was booked, but he's not. You could do a decreased attack unbooked if you run him on a 4-for-3 ratio. Okay, but so he can be that champion for you because you only need decreased attack up for the AoE hits. So he is capable of doing it, but he's not going to be as kind of surefire as some of the other champions that we kind of see on a regular basis. So we're going to put Sepultura in there. Hopefully she is geared in some way. No, she's not. Try someone else. We're going to bring in a Doom Priest. We're going to bring in, I guess, a Razin. Decrease defense and weaken. Just need a decrease attack champion. Tell you what, we're going to throw in an Ultan actually. Hopefully he's geared. Please be geared. Still okay. So Ultan versus Ivan. Ivan the Terrible. Let's see how this goes. So the cool thing here is he's going to give a defensive comp more increased defense. So increased defense for 3 turns for people like Razin and people like Ultan who thrive off having high defense numbers. They're going to be slamming into this guy hard. And that's what you want from your defensive champions. You want them to be pushing out damage. So, does he come in and kind of bust a game? No, he doesn't bust a game. But I think for most people that get him, he's super relevant in your clan boss team, especially if you can get him on a 4-for-3 or if you can book him out and get him as your decrease attack champion. He becomes your Ultan if you get him as your decrease attack champion. Decrease attack, increase defense, and a good amount of damage. All of those things are great. So he's very tough to book. If you don't book him, I would suggest you run him on a 4-for-3 sort of ratio. And he's going to give you a lot of what you need for Clan Boss. And I honestly think he's one of the best legendaries that they've released for Clan Boss in quite a while. 100k hit there on his, I think that was his A2. Versus, 60 odd K hit there. We saw that Ultan's not geared the best. But yeah, feels like to me, he's going to be solid for most people that get him, and I think this is going to be his best spot for you. Progression through different dungeons, progression through different waves, and then progression into later game clan boss, I think is where he will give most people the biggest bang for their buck. So there you have it, guys. I think this is a really good Fragment Fusion. I think for most people, this is great. For the super endgame players, you probably don't need him. That's my honest view on it. So if you think different to me, guys, please leave a comment below. What else would you try with this guy? What else would you be doing? But yeah, Ivan the Terrible. Actually, no, I think Ivan, pretty damn good. I've been Hell Hades. I'll catch you later.